Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I am your host for this show. Divas That Care is working together to make the world a better place. Our podcast may be listened to on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and any place you listen to podcasts. Go to our website, divasthatcare.com, and check out all the amazing hosts and their shows of women they are interviewing around the world. I am so very thrilled today to have an incredible diva, Brianna Harbor, with me, and she is going to talk about farmers markets, festivals, and flea markets, which truly sparks my interest also. Brianna, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I go by Miss Bree at the preschool that I currently work at as an assistant teacher. I'm Breezy to a lot of my good friends, and Brianna and Bree just in general. And I have 4 children, almost 11-year-old, so 10, 5, you might have heard them in the background just now, 4 and 3. So they're pretty close in age. And we are home right now due to the stay-at-home order. And so they're getting a lot of sunshine on this beautiful day. But they did attend festivals, farmers markets, and flea markets with me last year off and on whenever exposed them to it so that they could experience it with my mom and myself. And my husband even helped a lot of the times with setting up the tent and everything.
Oh, Bree, that is just incredible. I love it how your family is involved. And I personally have had the opportunity to work with Bree in some of these farmers markets, and it is just incredible how her whole family is involved in it. So that is just great. So, Bree, that kind of answers probably what cause is near and dear to you, and what difference are you committed to making with the farmers markets, the festivals, and the flea markets?
Yes, being a part of them was kind of my first step in making a difference, because I raised awareness just being a part of it, telling my family and my friends. But now that I'm not involved in it as much this year, we're planning to get back to it next year. But with everything going on, my folks are at home and we're at home. So, our goal is just to let as many people as I know. I meet a lot of vendors and people that have talents, and I try to encourage them to go to those places so that they can have a chance to experience it and possibly either support another person's business or begin their own. Because they're just some of the most amazing people I've ever met at those events. I told my mom when I started doing them, it's just every single time it's been a great experience.
Oh, that is
even
just
if
incredible.
Sales aren't the best, you're surrounded by kind people.
Oh, that's what makes it so much fun. That's what's so awesome.
Yep. Well, and this year, they've even made some serious adjustments for the health and safety of the vendors and the people that are able to attend for the farmers markets. And I was really impressed by them wearing masks and providing masks to customers and just really caring.
Oh, that's incredible. That is awesome. Well, and speaking of masks, following your Facebook, I have seen that you are involved in a group called Masks for Wichita. Would you mind to share just a little bit about what all that does and how you've helped the community with it?
Yeah, sure. That was something that was really a blessing to me to be a part of, because I felt really helpless with everything going on and looking at what Italy was going through and around the world. Just some of the devastation was getting me really down, and I prayed on it. And then a friend added me to that, and I noticed, I think on either that, I think it was that page, my wedding dress designer had made a message, and she said, I can make 200 masks a day if someone is willing to put in just donating products to us. And I had the time to devote to that, so I loaded the kids up and went to family and friends, and we did zero contact porch pickups of cloth and thread, and someone gave needles for the sewing machine, and a lot, I think there were bobbins. They gave everything that they had because, like myself, they weren't able to make them fast enough, but she has industrial tools because she's a seamstress. And so I asked my husband if we could contract with her because the local hospice hospital, Harry Hines Hospice Memorial Hospital, was in need. And my friend is a Via Christi nurse. A couple of my friends, actually, are Via Christi nurses, and they were in need. And I was just seeing it popping up. I used to have a daycare, and one of my daycare families stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, so I thought of them and contacted them, and they said, yeah, we could use about 40 masks as soon as you could get them to us. And so I just made a list, and as I was posting about it, more rose up. There was a positive case. I think they were up to about a half dozen positive at Burlington's nursing home, and a friend of mine from Toronto Cowboy Church that we used to go to was already sewing masks, and she said if you could help. And so and she donated fabric as well because I ran out to her and gave her the first round, and my seamstress followed through. She had 400 to us within a couple of days, and I think an order of 24 came in on the end, and so down the list and went and delivered them, and were able to get them as fast as we could to those places. And I was really grateful to have come across that Facebook group, and then to have seen my wedding dress seamstress. She took my mom's wedding dress and turned it into my style. And so I knew she's so talented. And when she said 200 masks a day, I knew she meant it, and she made it happen. And
my
so
goodness.
that was a great experience. And she's booked now. Her shop had been closed down and seen as non-essential because she did wedding dresses. But when she offered to do masks, I knew that she could be essential, and she is now. She was able to get that reversed. Her business is seen as essential, and she and her girls she's kind of growing. She's brought a couple more of her seamstresses back to her shop, and she said she was so excited. She had somebody from out of state from a hospital contact her about 3,600 masks, and she said, I may have to get a hold of the dancewear makers here in town and hand that off to another business. So I was really encouraged to just see that grow and lift the economy back up. I mean, they're not making wedding dresses, but they were able to sustain their income and keep the shop open.
That's
just thank you.
Just amazing, Bree. I mean, how kind and helpful you have been through that group and helping lift other businesses up and helping one another. Just what Divas is about, locking arms and making things happen to make the world a better place. Oh, that is just incredible. I absolutely love it. That's great. What would be one of your aha moments that maybe started to get you involved with the farmers markets and doing what you have been doing there with your mother?
Her retirement plan was to sell her soaps, and she got a really nice website established thanks to Promo Depot, a company here in Wichita. And I felt like that wasn't enough, and I had closed my daycare, and the kids and I had time available. I was applying for jobs, and I said, you know what? I'll just look at these farmers markets, and we'll get some flea markets. We'll go to some festivals, all three of those, and booked myself from April to August. So for about 4 months until I got on at the preschool. And we're going to try to balance it again next year. I was just overwhelmed coming into the preschool, so we went ahead and stopped the season. But we want to see if we can't do both. And now my parents are very interested in coming back and getting to know the farmers and doing some of those themselves and retiring. But their original plan was to do most orders online, but they saw how good sales were in person, and they really enjoyed the interaction and meeting other farmers and trading with other farmers for products. And so they want that experience, and that'll get them out and around and getting to know people.
Oh, wonderful. May you tell us a little bit more about the products that your mother has in the booth that you help her with?
Yes, she has organic and natural goat's milk soaps, her bare naked soap, that's all it is. It's just organic, pure, nothing's in it but the goat's milk and a little bit of coconut oil to soften the base. And she's now added a body butter that's also just a bare naked body butter. Those are just the pure, I think it has kind of a sweet smell to it, but they're unscented. And I think it's just the milk that's in it that makes it kind of sweet. And I didn't know anything about goat's milk or the benefits of coconut oil, but as I continued doing the farmers markets and flea markets and festivals and meeting people, they would say, oh, I need this for my eczema, or my neighbor or my boyfriend. He's a waiter. He washes his hands. They get dried out and cracked, and he has eczema on his hands, so it's making it really agitated. I'm going to have to get him this bar so when he washes his hands, he's not going to be hurting anymore. And people said, oh, this is so much less expensive than the medication we get from the doctor. I need 3 bars for my daughter. And it was just really neat, and seeing the people that came back. And I had a couple people say, hey, you need to get involved. I think Eldersley Farm that just opened, I think it was last May. They have a goat's milk ice cream gelato shop. And so we were partnering with them, and we're in Steve's Jams and Jellies. We got in a couple little storefronts. Steve's Jams and Jellies has 20 or more of the local Kansas farmers market vendors. So there's honey in there, and I've seen handmade pet treats, and he's got all of his 30-plus flavors of jams and jellies. And so White Dove here in Wichita. And I think she's even getting a couple out of state. But her product is just, it's a soap. And a lot of people said, soap. But once you realize it's so healing and healthy and moisturizing, I mean, I use it on my face. I've used it in my hair and on my body, and I get a lot of compliments on my skin. And my little girl had eczema and on her ankles, and it cleared it up. But it also helps with acne, psoriasis, rosacea, and it's just a really powerful bar of soap. And she also was adding essential oils. She'd get the Now brand so that she could put quite a bit in it, and it would be affordable. And so each bar of soap would have a different blend of essential oils. And we used food-grade dyes and food-grade glitters. She did most of the soaps. The girls and I would sometimes go out to the farm and help her make a couple batches and get those put together. But and then my mother-in-law was hand crocheting the scrubs to go in the gift baskets that she had. They were hand crocheted body loofah scrubs, and she's made a couple toys, little goats, to go with the basket. And so we had a really good team of local women. My kids are very lucky with the grandparents they have and friends that we meet. But she's considering consolidating to just the bare naked. Right now there's 12 scents of the soaps. There's the frankincense and myrrh, and just 11 other scents. I think she talked about keeping deep forest because it has echinacea. It has some essential oils in it that help deter ticks and mosquitoes, and so they liked having that one out at the farm. And my aunt is a gardener, and she likes to use it. You can use those dry on the days that it's kind of humid out. You can just rub the bar on dry, and it deters the biting flies and the mosquitoes and ticks. So she's talking about keeping that one, and I really want her to keep the goodness and light because it's the frankincense and myrrh, and she uses the real resin stones from the frankincense and myrrh tree sap, and we found it at the Spice Merchant in Wichita, and that's where she gets a lot of the loose leaf teas. So if somebody wanted to order something specific, I'm sure she could make an adjustment and try to accommodate that, but we're hoping to at least just offer the bare naked goat's milk and body butter. The body butter is really pure too. I've used it on my face, and so have a lot of the friends and family I've given it to, and it's not causing any breakouts or anything.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is awesome. Now, is there a website that some of our listeners may go to that they can order some of this soap and body butter and products you have talked about?
Yep. Her website is critterhillfarm.com, and she spells the critter with a K, so it's Kritter, Hill, Hill, farm, FARM.com. And she called it Critter Hill Farm because she used to have an animal rescue she was looking into starting, but because of all the work that she and my dad do, they ended up just kind of doing it themselves. They didn't end up getting any requirements for an actual animal sanctuary. They just went ahead and kept building the animals' homes and finding them homes as they could. They've had a couple litters dumped on them out in the country, and they rehomed them, and one pup from one of the litters came back, and they kept him until he passed just a couple weeks ago. And he spent his life with them because I'm adopted, and they homeschooled me, and they just are firm believers in someone having a safe place. And so when the dog was returned, they're aware that a dog can only be home so many times before it impacts them in a a painful way. So they just kept him, and that's how they are.
Oh, that is what an
and
incredible
and then
story.
their pony Paisley. Yeah, she has a rescue pony Paisley, and my daughter wrote her first book on that. Miss Penelope Ainsworth wrote a book about Grammy's rescue pony Paisley. They've got rescue ponies. They've got a horse with one eye, Patch. they take all the misfits. They have a one-legged or a three-legged goat. She lost one of her legs, and so they've got all kinds of little sweet misfit animals that a lot of them will even heal and come right back out of it. So they had a dog that had something wrong with her shoulder, and they just kept treating her good, feeding her. I think they brought her inside for a bit, and now she's walking just fine. So they never turn their back on anything.
Oh, that's awesome. It is the love they give them, the TLC. That is incredible. Well, your family has such a very busy life. How do you balance everything, Bree, to bring it all together and make it all happen?
When I was doing the farmer's market, my husband's in aviation, so he helped me balance the farmer's market schedule, and Nana is at home, my mother-in-law, the kids' Nana, and she would take the kids for me sometimes for me to do markets because the little ones were 2 and 3 at that time, so they were I didn't want them by the streets. And but so she would help me. I had a lot of family support, and my mom helps whenever she can. She'll take the kids as well, as best she can. And so we've got a lot of family support. But for now, I've taken to a lot of online marketing, just raising awareness for each of the different businesses that I'm familiar with whenever I see them.
Oh, that is great. You are not only supporting your business with your mother, but also supporting other small businesses, and especially during this time, how critical that is. Oh, that is just awesome.
They took care of us too. There were times when I wasn't selling many soaps, and the farmers and ranchers around me would trade. You were one of them. Would trade for beef, and it was a lifesaver to be able to trade some bars of soap for the ground beef. And it's such high quality. I was really grateful you'd do that for us. And there was a vegetable. It was Flying Frogs Farm, I think. They were out at the Goddard Farmers Market we did, and there were times they would give the kids melons and fruit and vegetables, and they'd always send somebody over and tell them, you need their soap. And I really picked up on that because it would make my day if I was having a hard day, having somebody care about my business really made the difference. So I want to give that back and pay it forward.
Oh, that is just incredible. I mean, I love the kindness, and I know what kind of a caring person you are because I've worked beside you at these markets. And yes, thank you. Your soap is incredible. I always love trading the beef for soap. I know people say beef for soap. Yes, this is incredible soap. So I love to do things like that. How fun, Bree. Well, I think you've kind of touched a little bit on the purpose of your life. If you would like to add anything to that on what is the purpose of your life?
I just think that's something a lot of people feel lost about, and they, I don't know what my purpose is, and it's so simple. It's just to make the world a better place for having lived here, been here before you go on out.
That is put so wonderful. Oh, I just love that. That is great. Well, as we start to bring the show to a close, what are some last closing thoughts, tips, advice that you could leave with our listeners from today?
Yeah, so I found the farmers markets just typing it in on a Google search engine, and they will come up different articles from your newspaper. And you could probably do the same on Facebook. But if you want to find these events, and I would recommend writing a schedule down so that you can attend the markets and begin to build them up, because the more business they're getting, the more jobs are going to be available, not just immediately, which they would. The more people that would purchase, the more jobs would immediately open up. And I've seen some of these businesses expand. But it would also have a trickle-down effect where in the future, my children, my grandchildren would get to experience that. So I hope nobody forgets about these festivals, flea markets, and farmers markets, because you can find them. Just use those keywords and type it in, and then take note of where they are, write it down, and I keep a planner, and I would just write it in there, or you can put it in your calendar on your phone, so that if you wake up on a Saturday or Sunday and you think, what could my family and I do? You could begin to make it habitual. I've placed pre-orders with you where we go ahead and get a bundle of beef so that it'll last a week or two, so we're not going out very much to the other high-traffic indoor markets. I like the open air, and I feel more comfortable with the breeze blowing around, getting things refreshed around me, and I appreciate you letting us pre-order, but I do recommend that as well. If you find a farmer or a flea market vendor or a festival that you attend, a lot of those festivals have the same vendors. I went to the Mulvane Old Settlers, and there's a gentleman that I also met at the Benton Mark. They have a shop and go festival in the spring and in the winter, and he is Blazing Grace Stoneware. He has some of the neatest stuff, and he makes a living that way, but it's good to keep them in mind for gift giving. If there's, we've got Mother's Day coming up, something just very unique and special, and it benefits the lives of those people that are going from event to event to get their face and their product out there for you. And they're higher quality products. They have to be. And a lot of people don't realize that. They have to be higher quality to survive in those smaller markets.
I love those. Those are all great tips and advice for our listeners to hear, especially in these times right now. Wow. Yeah. Well, Brianna, I want to thank you so much for being my guest, and I so hope you will return and keep us updated on your very busy lifestyle that you are living and how you are helping others and the kindness you are showing. I would love to bring you back on the show in the future and just have you give an update to all of our listeners for us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Joyce.
Oh, you are so welcome, Bree. And we will be posting all your social media links to this podcast. I also want to thank you all for listening to this amazing interview with this amazing diva, Brianna Harbor. Please share with your family and friends, along with telling them they may listen to Divas That Care podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or any place they listen to podcasts. Be sure to check out all the hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. Have a fantastic day. Please be kind to all. Give your animals a hug and share your love with them. Until next time, stay strong and healthy.